What's going on, guys? Sorry I'm a little late today for the morning stream. Today's going to be WeBull Wednesday, so we're going to be talking about WeBull's platform. We're going to be showing off a few of their features. We're also going to be doing some scans, looking for some penny stocks. I'm going to be giving some tips and tricks on kind of how to trade penny stocks. I used to trade penny stocks back in the day when I very first started trading. Traded penny stocks for about 2 years. So I've got some knowledge on how to trade them and how to find some good ones. So I'm going to give you guys some tips on kind of what I used to do. So first off, I just wanted to show off this screen here on WeBull. So if you guys have an account, I'm not sure if you can pull this up even if you don't have an account, but I know if you do have an account, you can go to the market screen here on the left. And this gives you a really good overview of kind of how the market is looking. So you have the 3 major indexes on the top left. You have the Dow Jones, the S&P 500, the NASDAQ. These will give you kind of just little brief price charts and how they're doing for the day. Right now, they're basically break even. The next chart over here is the net inflow. This is basically telling you how much money is coming in or out of the market on the NASDAQ and the New York Stock Exchange. So if you hover over these, it will tell you what you're looking at. So like the NASDAQ, currently you have an inflow of about 65 million. The New York Stock Exchange has an outflow of about 135 million. The next screen over here, the advancers and decliners. This is basically just an overlook on the market as a whole. So it goes over 5,107 stocks, and it tells you kind of how they're doing for the current day. So you have the 0 to 2%, 2 to 5, 5 to 10, 10 to 15, and then 15 plus. And that's positive and negative. Right now you're about balanced. You got about 2,000 advancing, 2,600 declining. So a little bit more red, but overall pretty balanced. Most of the stocks that are moving today are moving very slightly. They're only moving about 2% to the upside or 2% to the downside. So you're not getting any major moves in the market today. You get a couple of major moves of 15, 10%, but not a lot. This next window over here is the rankings window where you can look at the most active, the top gainers, the top losers. Basically just your overlook on the things that are really moving today. The next one here are the trends. So it's really talking about kind of what is trending. You have the 5-minute ranking, the extended hours ranking. Basically the same thing as kind of the rankings over here. Just giving you kind of an outlook on what's moving. What are the big things being talked about right now, basically. Hot ETFs is the next window. This is going over what ETFs are really moving. Typically you'll see like the Qs are very common in here. The inverse Qs, the inverse SPY, inverse Dow, those big ETFs that people like trading. You also have the ETFs like the tech ETFs or the energy ETFs you'll typically see in these hot ETF section. The next window down here is the hot industries. I really like this window because it shows you what is actually moving during the day. So if you're having a very green day or a very red day, you can look at this hot industries and really see what is causing that green day or red day. So excuse me, right now you have renewable energies is doing pretty good. Semiconductors are doing quite well as well. Forest and wood products, investment trust. So you can go through these and really look at what is green and what is red for the day. Going down a little bit more here, you have corporate actions like IPOs. You could also go to earnings. You also have dividends as well. So if you're a guy who likes to trade like news or you like to trade the earnings, you want to be looking down here because you have your news alerts down here on the bottom right, and you have your earnings alerts and your dividends alerts down here on the bottom left. And then on the final window here on the marginable, this is going to tell you kind of what is being marginable on like longs and shorts. So you can take shorts, you can take leverage. These are the stocks that you can buy with leverage or you can short sell. Obviously, this isn't all of them. These are just the ones that are moving rapidly. Now, a couple of other things on here on the top. You have the other markets where you can look at the Hong Kong market. You can look at the global market as a whole, kind of see how we're doing. Everything is basically green except for the Chinese market. You can also look at the hot futures, what's really moving here. Forex, if you're a Forex trader, you can keep an eye on the big Forex pairs. Crypto as well, if you're a crypto trader, it has a list of about 15 of the top cryptos. You can see how they're doing. That is the market's window. So one thing that I have to, oh, actually it's already set up. Okay, so I thought I was gonna have to reset this up because I did log out of my stream account and I logged out of my other account and we logged into our stream account here. So I thought I was gonna have to set this up, but looks like we're already good to go. Hey, Moneybag, what's going on? Yeah, Beyond's moving. I saw that in Discord. Thanks, she drank a Red Bull because goddamn. Let me take a look. I actually didn't take a look at Beyond. Oh yeah, really moving today. Closed yesterday around, what, 100? You're up 20%. Not too bad. Massive volume coming in. Pretty good breakout on the daily here. Nice accumulation, put in a higher low, broke the accumulation, retested it as support, popped up into the 200 EMA, or 200 MA. Found a little bit of support on your shorter term moving averages, then popped up here. Nice little bull flag. Nice little bull flag. High volume on the buys, low volume on the consolidation. That's one of the tips I'm going to give you guys here on the penny stock trading. Are the bull flag patterns. When you see that high volume on the rise, low volume on the consolidation, high volume on the secondary breakout. That's really what you want to be looking for. So since we made a new account here, yeah, my screeners are not here. So I'm going to have to remake the screener, which is good for you guys. You guys can see kind of what I'm looking for. So what I was looking for was, let's see, we were doing 0 to 0.5 billion, which is going to be 500 million. So we were looking for 500 million market cap. EPS we did not have. Let me go ahead and get rid of this. Did we have any of these? I don't believe we did. No, we did not. And let's go back to our quotes. We wanted to see price. And that's it. And we wanted to do $1 to $10. So back in the day, I only did $1 to, was it 6 or 7? $6 or $7. I can't remember exactly. I think it was 7. So back in the day, I did $1 to $7. But for this scan, I'm going to bring it up to 10. And then I don't believe we had anything else. What do we have? Market cap, we have price. I'm missing something. Let me see. Oh yeah, volume. Missing volume, of course. So for volume, we wanted to see things that were moving. Let me see. I think I had 35. And then we had this basically maxed out. So it should be 3.5 million and then go to the max is what we had our screener for. So this would be, let me make sure I've got everything. 0 to 500 million, yes. 1 to $10, yes. 3.5 million to max, yes. And then nothing else. Yep, that's it. So this is going to be our penny stock. 3.5 million scan. Hey, Bitmaster, what's going on, man? We're going to go ahead and save that. Now, let me go ahead and make another one here. We want to bring this down to, what did I have, 1 million? I think it was 1 million. So we get a little bit of a bigger scan here. There we go. Now we have the 3.5 million scan and we have the 1 million scan. So on the 3.5 million scan today, we can get rid of these red ones if we want, but I leave the red ones because of the reversals. You could look for the gap reversals. Let me see if any of these are doing that. Let's see. Oh, this looks like it's brand new. This is a brand new IPO. Looks like both of these are brand new. This one, let me see. Or hold on, I think it might have just been moved over. No, these are brand new. Yeah, those are brand new. Okay, so let's look at this one. This one is, so no gap reversal on this one. Where is the open? So we opened, failed downward, and now we're kind of reversing. So it actually is a reversal, just not a gap reversal. This one here, this is a gap reversal, so you do have that gap down. You failed lower, but you are trying to reverse into that gap. Same thing with this one. Failed downward accumulation, could be trying to reverse into that gap. I wouldn't trade any of these. Let's look at the bigger ones. So this one here, you had a gap reversal, but it was a failure. So you gapped up and then reversed and filled it downward. And now you're going for that secondary retest. So this one I wouldn't like. This one, same thing, gapped up, failed downward. I don't like that one either. So one thing you can do, you can go over here on the watch. So I could create this into a watch list. I'll show you here in a second. This one, same thing, gapped up, kind of filling the gap. None of these are really what I would look for. This one, kind of. You have that gap up, and now you're trying to look for that kind of secondary breakout. Not a lot of buy volume, though, so this one would be... This one's the best one so far, but still not very good. Same thing here, kind of gap up and then accumulation. Yeah, same thing on all three of these. So let me show you what you can do here on WeBull. So we can go ahead... If I go to the screener here, we go to the 3.5 million. I can create a watch list here. And then we can go over here to the watch list section. Pull this up on the watch list and we can look at all of these at the same time. And we can quickly find what charts look good. And you can change your time frames, look at your indicators. Like I said, none of these really look like what I would want to trade during the morning session. This is decent, the AZS one, but it's already up 40%. I typically look for a sweet spot kind of around... kind of like these right here. This like first couple where you're starting to break out, like around 5 to 15%. 5 to 15% is really like the sweet spot, so like these two. But these two don't have really good patterns. So it doesn't look like anything would be traded today for this strategy. Now typically you would do this right during the open. You would run a scan around 9:30. You would see what's breaking out right during the open, and you would want to run a scan at least every 5 minutes. If you're too busy to kind of run, well, honestly, if you're too busy, you probably don't want to be trading this strategy because this is a strategy where you want to be very active. But if you're too busy to run a scan like every 5 minutes, you want to at least run like 3 scans during the first 30 minutes. Like 9:30 to 10 o'clock, you want to run at least like 3 scans. Because you want to get those scans that are... you want to get the stocks that are breaking out right during the open, and then you want to see kind of what didn't break out immediately, but then found some volume kind of after the open, and then you want to see what's kind of breaking out towards the end of that first 30 minutes, or even that first hour, so like 10:30, you want to run another scan to see what's breaking out there as well. So what you can also do is if you run the 3.5 million scan, and you don't have really anything, so like today, we don't really have anything that looked good, you would go to your lower scan, like the 1.5 million, and then you would look for that sweet spot. Now, what I could do here is I could create another scanner here. This is on the 1 million, so I could add this, a percentage change, and then we could look for that sweet spot. So we could look for, like, let's go 3.5 to let's say 18, just to get it a little bit wider than what we like. So typically I like 5 to 15. I went 3.5 to 18 here. We could even go 3 to 18, really make it simple to find those that are in that sweet spot. And we could nickname this penny stock 1 million sweet spot. Is that too long? I'll just take out the space here. We go back to our screeners here. And now we're going to see that sweet spot. So now we can quickly go here, create a watch list, sweet spot. Pull it up here. Let's see what looks good. So this looks decent, but it looks like it's a low volume stock. So it might be getting a lot of volume right now, but it doesn't look like it's typically a high volume stock. Let's take a look. So it has 1.5 million here. What is the market cap? Market cap 377. Yeah, so that's decent. Not too good. RWT, I called this out last week. This actually looks really good. We'll pull it up here in a second. HTZ doesn't look too bad, but not the pattern that I look for. I look for like bull flagging patterns, kind of like breaking out, consolidating, kind of like this. So you want to look for this kind of 260 breakout, where it finds a lot of volume, then starts to break out at 260. That is what you're going to be looking for basically every single day. So kind of like this stock, but this is a deep pullback. So if like this stock consolidated here around like 115 and then started to break 120, that's what you're looking for. You're looking for that secondary break of that initial morning impulse. So kind of like this one here, if you start to break 127, 125, you're going to look for that secondary impulse. The best one right now, I think, is RWT. Eros doesn't look too bad. So we'll look at both of these. Now, what you want to do when you're using this strategy is you want to use a couple of moving averages to help you out. So typically I like to use a short moving average, either like an 8 EMA or a 12 MA. Those are the two favorite ones that I like. Right now I have the 12 MA. And then for a kind of a midterm moving average, you want something higher than this one. This one's a 72. If you're using this breakout strategy, you would want to be using like a 20 or a 50 or both. So like you would want to do like a 20 here and then probably like a 50. So you'd want to be looking at kind of the very short-term price action, the midterm price action, and then the trend, right? The 50 would give you kind of that short-term trend. So typically for that initial breakout of the day, when you have that initial impulse and then you pull back, you do not want to see it breaking the 50. You see how it breaks the 50 here and then you get that kind of lower accumulation? That's not what you're typically looking for. Let me see if I can find an example here. So this is almost an example. So you have that breakout here on the initial session and then you pull back. You don't want to see that initial pullback break the 50 usually. So if this started to break out, let me see if I can go to my drawing tool here. If this started to break out to the upside here, off of that 50, that is what you want to look for. So you basically would have looked to enter this kind of like right around here, where you're bouncing off the 50 and you're breaking into that initial bull flag. That is where you would have taken that kind of, that impulse trade. So when it breaks the 50, you're going into more of an accumulation. You're not going into that breakout strategy. So this one is almost perfect. You see that breakout on the initial day? You consolidate on the 50, and then you start to break out. So you could have taken this when it started to break these highs here. Can I make this thicker? There we go. So when it started to break these highs here, you could have taken that trade. And then look at the volume. This would have been a very good candle to enter on, because of that volume is breaking out as well as the price, right? Very, very standard penny stock technique. Let's see. This one, where is the opening session? Yeah, this one's a very low volume stock, so I wouldn't have traded this. And honestly, we could take these out of the scanner. If we go to our scanner here, can I edit? Let's see. Modify. If we go to the volume here, well, I guess, yeah, that is getting 1 million. So you would have to have an average volume here to take that out, which I don't think they have. But that doesn't matter. As long as you look at that stock, you look at the market cap, you can see the average volumes is really not that high. You're only getting one 1.5 million today. The average volume is 1.3. So that's not really much higher than average. So it's not typically what you want to be looking for. Hey, Lemon, what's going on, man? So really, like I said, there's really not a lot of good examples today. The reason you're not getting a lot of good examples today is, let me pull it up here. The SPY is not really moving. You're only up like 0.4%. So on this strategy, you typically want to look for the SPY breaking out very bullishly. If the SPY is breaking out like 2%, 3%, anything higher than that really, then the penny stocks are typically going to follow. Because what a lot of penny stock traders do is they don't take the breakout trades unless the SPY is either uptrending or at least showing signs of like a bottom or some sign of bullish strength, right? So if the SPY is like break even or it's downtrending, a lot of penny stock traders are not even going to trade that day. And that's typically what I would do. Back when I was trading penny stocks, if the SPY was bearish, you were just playing with fire. Even if so really the only stocks you would want to trade with this strategy, if the SPY was bearish, are stocks that are getting some kind of catalyst. So if they're getting like a news catalyst, or if you're looking at pharma stocks, like pharmaceuticals, if they're getting some kind of FDA catalyst, you could still trade those during a bearish SPY day, okay? But anything that's not getting like a news catalyst, you really want to avoid taking a penny stock trade when the SPY is bearish or downtrending. Because if the SPY starts to be very volatile and you start to see a lot of strength towards the downside, then the penny stocks will start to pull back. They'll start to pull back to the downside. It will affect the penny stock market very heavily. Let's go back here, look at our sweet spot. I think, did we go over all these? I think we did go over all of these. I think Eros, we didn't look at Eros. RWT and Eros are the only ones that look really good here. Actually, this looks really good as well, Riot. Oh yeah, Riot we went over. Riot is actually going for a third breakout if it gets some volume here. So here's that secondary breakout. This could actually go for a third breakout here, if you do get some volume. Looks like it's failing though. Sell volume coming in. Downtrending RSI, downtrending MACD. So back when I would penny stock trade, I wouldn't really use MACD or RSI. I would basically just use price action, volume, some moving averages. What you could do with this technique is you could pay attention to kind of... The MACD would be a little too slow for this strategy, but the RSI, you could pay attention to the RSI or like a CCI. A CCI would be better. So let me pull up the CCI here. I could tell you. Or I could show you exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah, so like right here. You guys know my CCI technique with like the 50 CCI. If you're breaking out of the 100 range with the 50 CCI, that is typically a very good breakout. Okay, so like if you're looking at this breakout here and you see this candle and it's breaking, look at the CCI down at the bottom. You can see the CCI is breaking the 100. That's a confirmation that that is a good breakout. So like if you were looking to trade this on a penny stock setup, you could have got in at like 120. You're only going for like 5, 10 cents, 15 cents, depending on what your trade size is. You're not going for a lot. So the penny stock trades are very, very quick, in and out, typically like 15, 20 minutes. I think my average trade back in the day was like less than 30 minutes. So you're not going for a lot. Don't get greedy on these. Now, obviously, some of the penny stocks, they'll run for like $1, $2, but you don't want to get greedy. Now, what I typically did was I would watch the short-term moving average. So if I had like an 8 EMA or a 12 moving average, like I have here, you would wait for the 12 moving average to be broken. Now, on a stock like this, where the price range is very, very tiny, I probably wouldn't do that. But if I was trading like a $5 stock and the price range was a little bigger, I would probably wait for it to break that 12 moving average for me to get out. So you could sell some shares on the way up and then sell the remaining kind of on the break of the short-term moving average. But like I said, on the low stocks, like the $1 to $3 stocks, you want to be careful doing that because the price range is so small. That's a massive percentage usually. Hey man, you said in exo charts, is the bid-ask profile just a snapshot of the order book over time? Bid-ask profile. The bid-ask profile is showing you all the bid trades and all the ask trades. So what trades were being sold on the bid, what trades were being bought on the ask, that sort of thing. It's showing you the different sizes of the bid and the ask. I don't typically trade those, or I don't use those profiles, so I don't know too much about them, but I know that's the general consensus on how to read them. So yeah, like if you were looking at this for this short-term strategy, you really wouldn't be looking at the MACD. You could use the RSI, but CCI would be much more helpful. So if you guys are just coming in, I'm just going over some simple penny stock tips and tricks. If you guys are penny stock traders or if you're looking to get into penny stock trading, I'm just going over a few different tips and tricks on how to find good penny stocks to trade and how to trade them. I've did a couple of videos on this topic before on the channel, but just reiterating it and showing how to use WeBull's platform to find these stocks and how to quickly find the patterns you want to trade. Let's go back to our regular 1 mil scan, get out of the sweet spot. Let's see which stocks are really breaking out here. So cars is up 25%. So this one had a good setup. So look at what happened today. You had that initial gap up on cars. Excuse me. And then you had that pullback. But like I said, as long as you stay above the 50 moving average or 50 EMA, it doesn't really matter which one you use. They're both fine for this strategy. As long as you stay above that 50 during that initial pullback of the day, like that initial 30 minutes to 45 minutes, you will typically go for a secondary breakout. And as you can see here, you don't have a perfect horizontal breakout here, but you do have a nice diagonal breakout where you can see that pullback and then you see that breakout occur. Look at that volume spike. So if you see that volume spike on that breakout, that's perfect. That's what you want to see. And then you can see the CCI confirmation comes in during this kind of breakout right here. So you start to break out again, and then the CCI shows you that confirmation. If I hide that little spike there, you can see the CCI gives you that confirmation during that breakout. So you see a little bit of a pullback on your short-term moving averages, but then once again, the volume comes in, you see that break. Beautiful breakout there. So when you see these little fake out pullbacks, you really just want to be paying attention to your short-term moving averages, and you want to be paying attention to your volume. If you don't see a whole lot of sell volume compared to your breakout volume, you don't want to be too worried. It can still easily break out, and that's what happened here. You didn't see a whole lot of volume. You saw a lot of volume on this candle here, but look at that candle. You see that volume come in? Look at that candle. That candle has a lot of, or it has a long bottom wick. So if you have a long bottom wick and you have that volume coming in on that candle, that's showing you that the volume is coming in on the buy side, not the sell side, right? Like if you have a long bottom wick, you have a lot of volume, the volume is typically coming in on the buy side. If you have a long top wick, like you did here, and you have a lot of volume, typically that volume's coming in on the sell side, right? And that's why you saw that pullback. So pay attention to your wicks, pay attention to your volume. You could easily see that the buyers were coming in here. You went for a retest of that wick. You were not able to break it, and then you broke out again. So pay attention to your moving averages, pay attention to your volume, confirm your breakout with your CCI. Very, very simple technique there. Let's go back to the screener here. Let's look for stuff that's getting really high volume. Yeah, so these two are getting really... Yeah, all four of these are getting massive volume. So if you look at the volume here, look at the average volume compared to the volume today. The average volume on this stock is 300,000. It did 4.6 million today. That's over a 10x multiple on relative volume. That's massive. That's what you typically want to look for, is the massive relative volume. Same thing here. 38,000, 39,000. You're doing 1 million. So almost a 3x multiple there. Or sorry, more than that. Like a 30x multiple. I was thinking 300,000. And then you had 34,000 here, 12 million volume. So this is a massive multiple. Same thing here, 47,000 to 44 million. That's where you're going to see the major movers, or that very, very high relative volume seen. So we looked at cars. Did we look at this one? No, we didn't look at this one. So this one didn't really give you that secondary entry. So you would have just had to momentum trade this. So what you could have done on this one, this is a much riskier technique. I talk about this before in a couple of videos. I call it the micro pullback. This is only a 1 minute micro pullback though. So this is, like I said, very, very risky here. You could have waited for this first pullback. So the micro pullback is basically when you have, this wouldn't even be a pullback because it was a green candle, but let's pretend this was a red candle to the downside. So what you could have done is, if this was like a green breakout, and then you see a 1 minute micro pullback where you see a 1 minute candle, kind of a very, very tiny doji at the top of your breakout, when that doji is broken, you can take that trade and you put your stop loss below the doji. That gives you that secondary entry. This is a momentum strategy, so you have to be very quick. But so, like, if we pretended this was a red pullback, right on the break of that doji, you would have taken the trade, stop loss below the doji. Okay. So if you miss the micro pullback, there's another setup, the first pullback setup. So if you have a major breakout, I don't think they have. Do they have a... They don't have a pin tool. I'm going to mention that to them, see if they can get a pin tool here. But if we have a breakout here, so if we have a breakout and you see that first pullback, that kind of first initial bull flag pullback, if that pullback has low volume, it's the same thing as a bull flag setup, it's just on a very low time frame. So if that pullback has low volume, and then you have a break of that pullback with good volume, so you see a break of that pullback here, if we saw good volume on that breakout, that's another entry. So like right here, you see that breakout, you see that pullback has less volume than the breakout, and then look at that volume coming in on the breakout. That would have been another entry. So you could have entered on that first pullback breakout, and then if we had a micro pullback, you could have entered on the micro pullback as well. Let me see if I can find an example of a micro pullback. They're not very common during gap days like this. A lot of these charts are really ugly charts because we're on the 1 million scan. The 1 million scan is going to give you some ugly charts, but the 3 million plus is going to be the better looking charts. Yeah, I don't see any micro pullbacks on these. They're not very common on these low time frames. Or sorry, low volume stocks. So let's go back to the screener here. Hey Josh, what's going on, man? By the way, guys, if you guys have not already, if you guys are a U.S. citizen, if you haven't signed up to WeBull yet, we're doing a giveaway for every Wednesday during this month. We're going to do a morning stream like today, and then I'm going to be, let me grab the tweet here. I'm going to be giving away $50 of Bitcoin, USD, or Ethereum, or just cash, whatever you prefer, along with 30 days access to our bundle package of indicators. And then as well, you're going to get 2 free stocks on WeBull. So as long as you deposit $100 with the WeBull link that I'm about to post, you will be entered in the giveaway. And we're going to do these giveaways every Wednesday this month. So I was going to do one today, but then I thought about it. It's impossible for me to do it today because it takes a couple of days to get approved for a WeBull account, and then it takes a couple of days for your deposit to show up. So I can't do one today, but I will be doing one next Wednesday. So for everybody who signs up from today to next Wednesday, you'll be entered in the giveaway, and then so on and so forth for the rest of the month. So to make up for the missed Wednesday today, we'll do it on the first Wednesday of June. But yeah, you're going to get 2 free stocks. You're going to get 30 days access to our indicators, and you're going to get, well, you're not guaranteed to get the $50, but you have a chance to win the $50. But you will get 30 days access guaranteed, and you will get 2 free stocks guaranteed, as long as you deposit at least $100. All right, so back to this. Let's take a look at these other big movers. So this is a pretty standard setup you're going to see on these breakouts. We already went over this one, but pretty standard setup. If you see that, if you see that initial bull flag breakout, which kind of fails to hold on to that 50 EMA, you'll see a lot of this happen where you'll see the ranging. And during this setup, you just want to use my kind of accumulation distribution technique. So you want to look for the lows. You want to look for the highs. And if you want, I didn't do this very often back in the day. I didn't like range trading too much back in the day, especially not on penny stocks. But if you wanted to take smaller trades here, lower your size, and kind of trade the range, if you have a very clean accumulation or distribution technique, or sorry, pattern, you can use the technique to just buy the lows, sell the highs. But it really depends on how big of a range it is. So this one would give you about a 14-cent range. So this one would be pretty good. So I probably would have taken this one at least once or twice, tested out. But typically I'm only looking for the breakouts. Let's go to the next one here. So this one's a good example of the 50 EMA strat or the 50 MA strat, where you see that initial breakout and then you kind of consolidate into that 50 moving average, and then you start to move again. Not a whole lot of secondary volume on this one though. You got a little bit of volume here when you tried to break the high a day, and then you got another volume here on the break of the high a day, but nothing too strong. And like I said, you're going to see that because the SPY is not moving heavily upwards. If the SPY was very bullish today, these breakouts would have been a lot stronger. Let's take a look at these other big ones here. So this is the second biggest mover. Yeah, so this one failed the 50 pullback. So you had that initial breakout. You tried to go for another breakout, but failed. So once you started to fail here, once you failed your point of origin, you can see the point of origin failure right here. You see that point of origin failure? Where you come up and retest that high, but then you're unable to break it. And then you fail back downward to the 50 moving average and you're not able to hold on to it. You tried to hold on to it, and then you failed the breakout, and then you went into a ranging setup. So once you start to range here, same thing. You could grab the lows, and then you could grab the high, and you could watch for that range. You would have gotten your first buy here, which would have given you your mid test, but it did not give you your high test. So that would have been a little bit of a risky trade there. Now here's the biggest mover today, 120% positive on the 1 million scanner, 45 million volume, so massive volume here. Started out at about $1, gapped up to $2, so gapped up 100%, and then ran to $3. So massive move on this, 200% move. But then look at that, you failed the high, same thing. You want to be very careful trading these. So you failed the high there. You see that? Point of origin failure. You look for the 50 pullback. 50 pullback, tried to push up, failed. The same thing. You could have grabbed the low. You could have grabbed the high. And then you could have traded the range, but same thing. You would have failed the range there. So if you took that range trade here, you would have lost that trade. That's why you keep a tight stop loss kind of below the range. This is actually a decent short setup. So if you're able to short this, I'm not sure if this one is marginable. I don't believe it is. No, it's not. So typically if it's marginable, it will say over here. This one's not marginable. So you would not be able to short this, but if you could, this pattern is a really good short pattern where you see that loss of the 50, you flip the 50 bearish, and then you're trending downward. You break your range. Once you break your range, same thing as I teach on my accumulation distribution setup. When you fail that retest of that range there, you didn't get a perfect test, but pretty much perfect. You could have shorted that. So you came up to the range, failed it. You could have taken that short. A little risky though, since this did have a 200% move on the day. So looking at the net inflow, net outflow, looks like the SPY is going bearish here. New York Stock Exchange seeing a negative almost 250 million outflow. NASDAQ still slightly green. You had a couple of big movers on the NASDAQ. I think Disney, as well as... Is Beyond on the NASDAQ? I'm not sure. But Beyond had a massive move today as well. Disney, funny enough, had bad earnings and is actually recovering quite nicely today. Starting to sell off here now the SPY is selling off. So notice that the last couple of penny stocks that I showed you guys were all kind of consolidating or dying. Why is that? It's because the SPY is not showing a very good bullish day. So like I told you, the SPY is like break even or the SPY is downtrending. You want to be a little careful trading those penny stock breakouts because the penny stock breakouts are going to be the best when the SPY is bullish. Disney not looking too good here on the 5-minute. Yeah, looks like a double top here on the 15. It's not looking too good. Let me actually add on to this here. Let's bring back the 200. And the 200 needs to be my orange one. We'll make this one red. So what happened with Beyond? Did Beyond have... I saw the news. I can't remember if it was earnings or if they had analyst... Let's see. I don't know if they got an analyst upgrade or they had good earnings. Have they reported their Q1? No, they haven't reported their Q1, so it must have been an analyst. Do you guys know what happened with Beyond? Oh, they got target raised by Bank of America. Raised to 68 from 58 by Bank of America. So the analysts are upgrading. Oh no, they did report earnings. Yeah, so Beyond Meat rises 5% after hours on Q1 beats. So they beat their earnings on Q1 and they got analyst upgrades as well. Beyond is just such a weird stock to trade though. Their chart is very mania driven. It's very widely driven by just mainstream media, mainstream mania. Strong breakout on the CCI here. Bottom warning came in during the bottom as well. Like I said, guys, the CCI, I think, if you're looking for a free oscillator, something that's been around for a very long time, I think the CCI is probably the best oscillator. If you raise it to a 50 setting, I think the default is 14 or 21. I've always used 50. If you raise it to a 50 setting, you get a very, very clean breakout indication and a bottom warning indication as well. You can use it for divergence, but it's not as clean for divergence because it's unbounded. So the RSI is better for divergence. By unbounded, the CCI can literally go to like 1,000, 2,000. It can just keep going. It is not bounded by a range. The RSI is bounded by a range, 100 to 0, excuse me. So the divergence is better on RSI. Excuse me. Same thing with the Momo. The Momo is bounded by, well, it's not bounded by a 20 to 20, but it is very extremely rare for the Momo to go above 20 or negative 20. That's why you see very strong divergences on the Momo between 20 and negative 20. But let's take a look at our screener again. Is anything new popping up on the 3.5 mil? I don't see anything new. Did we look at Nova Bay? I think we looked at Nova Bay. Yeah, nothing new here. So today, it sucks. Today is not a good example. I thought today was going to be a green day. Sadly, today was not a green day, so we didn't get a good example of how to trade the strategy. If we get a really good day, I will take some live trades with the stream account to show you guys kind of how to use the strategy. But today is not looking good for the strategy, so it's all going to be hypothetical today. Hopefully next Wednesday we'll get a green day. Do you guys have any questions about the platform? Any questions on how to use WeBull, or any questions on the penny stock technique? Do you guys have any stocks you want me to take a look at? I'm going to be ending the morning session here in the next like 30 to 40 minutes, and then we're going to come back for our afternoon session around 3 p.m. So a cool thing that I wanted to do today, since the last couple of streams, I have been like live trading the morning session on SPY, and I've been showing you guys how to find levels and how to trade the volume profile on SPY. Since I missed that today, what I wanted to do was I wanted to look at a replay, so we could do a replay of today, and we could use the... I've never used a replay with the volume profile, so I'm not sure how it's going to work. But we're going to try to use the replay function on TradingView with the volume profile to see how we could have traded it. If the volume profile doesn't work with the replay, we're just going to cancel the replay and we're going to go to the visible range, the fixed range volume profile. And then I'm going to go over how you could have read today, like I did the past couple of days. So if you missed the past couple of streams, what I've been doing is I've been going over different volume profile levels and how you could have traded them with the SPY. So you guys will get a little glimpse of that during today's afternoon session. So come back around 3 p.m. Eastern, and then we'll show that. I was wishing the SPY would give us a little bit of a secondary breakout here, so we could get some live examples. Looks like cars. We could watch cars here as kind of a live example. So where you could have traded cars as a secondary trade is right on this range breakout here. So you see that range breakout? Look at the CCI, look at the volume. They're both confirming that breakout. You could have taken that trade, and it had a very nice breakout there. So cars, like I told you guys, you had that initial breakout, you pulled back to the 50, you did not break the 50. So as long as you don't break the 50 on that initial pullback, you can look for those secondary breakouts. This was actually like a triple breakout. Yeah, the 5 minute is really clean here. Still looking for a micro pullback example. I don't really see any. Okay, so here's one on the 15 minute. So you have this massive breakout candle here, and then you have this doji. Typically, you don't want to see it have a long bottom wick, because the longer the bottom wick, that means the longer your stop loss is going to be, because you want to put your stop loss below that candle. So if it has a long bottom wick, that means your stop loss is going to be farther away. But regardless, this is still a micro pullback as long as it's a doji towards the top of an engulfing candle. So you have an engulfing candle here, and then you have that doji towards the top. What you do is, as long as that, you wait for it to close. You don't trade during the micro pullback, okay? So once the micro pullback closes, if it breaks the high of that candle, you take a breakout trade. As long as the volume is good, of course. So you take a breakout trade on the break of that high, and then your stop loss is below the low of the doji. So like I said, because this doji is so big, your stop loss is going to be a little bit further away. Typically, you want to see them be tighter dojis, kind of like these dojis down here. But yeah, one of the main rules is you do not trade during the micro pullback. You let the micro pullback close. Let's go to the 1 minute here. We are getting a little bit of a breakout. So all the way up here, you're riding the 12 moving average. You're not getting that failure. You had a little bit of a failure here, but your CCI is still showing a strong breakout. So as long as the CCI is above 100, your breakout is still going. But if you break back below 100, like you did here, your breakout is failing. Your breakout is either failing to the downside or it's going into a consolidation. So since this breakout here to where we are currently, your breakout is still fine. You're still breaking out. So if you use the technique to close below the 12, you would have closed either on the wicks here or the close here. Now we'll see if this breaks out here. That would have either faked you out or it would have been a good close. Typically, if you are holding on to your shares for a breakout, if you get very far away from your short-term moving averages, you typically want to take profit. That's just a standard price action technique. If you're getting extended off of your moving averages, something that would make this very obvious is like a Bollinger Band. Like if you were using a Bollinger Band, let me pull it up here. So since I use a 12 moving average, I use a 12 Bollinger Band. So like you saw there, you're getting pretty extended on the 12 Bollinger Band on the upper deviation. You can see when you get extended on that upper deviation, you pull back. If you guys are longtime viewers, this technique is very common to you. I've gone over this technique many times with like the Bollinger Band, CCI strategy, the moving average CCI strategy. Let's take a look at VWAP here. Where's VWAP? The VWAP is down at 570, so decent. It's still climbing. You're seeing a nice climb of VWAP here. So now that the CCI is starting to lose its breakout, if you're holding on to any shares, you basically want to close here. This is like the final place to tell you that you should be closing because you're losing your breakout. Now, sometimes this can fake you out because, like I said, it could either be losing your breakout into a downtrend or it could be losing your breakout into a consolidation. So this could be faking you out a little bit where you just start to consolidate on like this range. But for the most part, even if it's faking you out, you want to take profit. There's nothing wrong with taking profit, right? Profit is profit at the end of the day. So if you took this breakout here, you should have definitely taken profit here. You should have taken profit on either the extension of the Bollinger Band, taken profit on the close of the 12s, or the short term, or taken profit on the failure of the CCI. And here you can start to see that pullback coming in. Now we're going to be confirmed if it's a pullback deeper or it's just a consolidation. If it's just a consolidation, it shouldn't go much lower. Sorry guys, my throat is really dry today for some reason. Yeah, so there's the pullback. Now you really should be closed. If it breaks your range there and you're still holding, you should be closed. Give me 1 second, guys. Sorry, to get some water. Can you take a look at GIS? It's one I took earlier. Yeah, I can take a look. Genesis. Let's take a look. Man, you really love these. You love these penny stocks. These shitcoin penny stocks too. I don't know how you trade stuff like this. Yeah, I can't trade stuff like that. I don't know how you trade stuff like this. That's insane. Oh, not this. Okay, that's probably why. What are you... You said GIS, didn't you? Oh, here it is. Okay. That's why. I was about to say, dude, how do you trade that? Okay, let's take a look. This makes more sense. Yeah, man said by flipping a coin, exactly. You said you traded this earlier. Did you short this? Because I don't really see any any breakout setups here. Or did you trade just the open? Did you trade right on the open? Oh, you did? Okay, so you shorted this? I like that. That's a good short. I like that. I was gonna say, because there's no breakout strategy here. There's no long strategy here. I can see the breakdown, though. Very nice pop up here. Failure. Once you lost that point of origin, pretty decent short. And then you had some secondary shorts as well on the break of... You could take in the trade there. This is a cleaner trade, though. Break of that low. You had a retest of that low. So you had a couple of shorts here. You could have shorted the break of the distribution on the open of the day. You could have shorted the secondary range break. You could have shorted the test of the range. I wouldn't short it here. It looks like it's starting to bottom. But those last couple of shorts were pretty good. You took a put on Monday. What's today? Wednesday, so 2 days ago. Let's take a look. This would have been yesterday. And then where's Monday? So Monday would have been the 4th. So it would have been here. Where'd you take your short at? So this also has a great signal here. Look at this point of origin here on the open. So gap up, it creates that point of origin, failure downward. All we look for the point of origin are impulse moves. So impulse move down, point of origin of the impulse. Look at that retest. Absolutely perfect. Absolutely perfect. Almost to the penny. Where'd you take your short? And then same thing, retested it here on Tuesday. You broke out of it though, so that would have been a little risky. You use it as support too. That's actually a really good long. So look at that level. You had that point of origin, test, failure, test, failure, test, failure, test, failure again, but then you break out. Nice little bull flag breakout. Retest as support, you kind of swing failured it a little bit. And then now you're kind of dried up. You don't really have any more of that level left. It's a nice level though. Not bad at all. What made you take your short, Moneybag? What was your signal? The only signal I could really see... Hey, Spit Docs, appreciate the resub, man. I'm back for 8 months, really appreciate that. We don't have a lot of subs left on Twitch, so I appreciate you being one of the last guys. A lot of our community has moved over to YouTube. Appreciate that 8-month resub, man. You said you're down 30 points. Okay, so I'm guessing you shorted a little low. You're down 30 points, huh? So what is it at now? So you shorted around 80? Or no, you're down 30 points. So you shorted around... What's price at? Price is at 49. You shorted around... Okay, so you shorted kind of around the bottom here. You said, I want my 1-year sub. Hey, man, we'll be around. As long as you keep subbing, we'll be here. Yeah, so it looks like if you shorted the bottom here, you might have FOMO'd into that a little bit. There's definitely a bull div here. You can see a bull div on the Momo, bull div on the CCI as well. Or sorry, not the Momo, the MACD. Bull div on the MACD, bull div on the CCI. There's probably definitely a bull div on the Momo. Or so, yeah, bull div. Hey, Josh. So yeah, it looks like you shorted just a little late. Probably got a little bit of a FOMO. Short in. You shorted on a bull div. But looking at it currently... Yeah, it doesn't look too good for your short. Let's take a look at the higher time frames. So if it's going to continue its downtrend, it needs to continue here. It needs to start failing. Because you see that downtrend, you see that the moving averages are basically acting as the perfect trend line. It needs to start failing here. The problem is the MACD and the CCI are both showing bottom warnings here. Where you're starting to curl up on that bottom. You're also putting in a higher low here on the 15. 1 hour is at the bottom of the range. Yeah, so you have a lot of support here. You can see the bottom of this range here. You're bouncing right off the bottom of that range. So if it's going to fail downward, it needs to either fail now or after a small bounce. You don't want to see too strong of a bounce here. If you get a strong bounce here, you could go for another breakout. This 4 hour is pretty clean for a bull flag. You can see the loss of momentum though. The CCI lost its momentum. The MACD lost its momentum. Yeah, so daily is definitely consolidating. You would either need to fail very soon, or you're going to go for a bull flag breakout. But I wouldn't hold on to this for too long. If it starts to break out, it's going to be pretty strong. Josh said the volume profile session volume on the Dow just shifted below price. I'm interested if momentum is shifting like on a B shape. I can take a look. So you said on the Dow. So what's the Dow's? It's DJI, I believe. Or no, what is the Dow's? I always get the Dow ETF wrong. DIA. So this looks pretty balanced to me. This looks pretty balanced. You said it's shifting below price. I'm interested in if momentum is shifting on a B shape. I wouldn't call this a B shape. This is pretty balanced. So here you would be looking for the value area low test, which it just did. And then that's basically it. You have a point of origin down here. There's no gaps. There's nothing really, nothing else to target. You could go lower here to the gap of yesterday. So those are your three main supports. Gap of yesterday, or sorry, gap of, what is that, Monday. And then you have your point of origin and you have your value area low. But this is definitely a balanced profile. So you'd be looking for buy the low, sell the high strategy. So a B shape, a capital B, or sorry, did you say, yeah, you said capital B. So a capital B, there's a capital B and there's a lowercase b. So lowercase b would be bearish. Capital B is neutral depending on where that secondary range is. So a capital B shape, you would want to see a lot more volume up here, a big gap, and then a lot more volume. So we don't have that gap. The POC is right on the middle of the day, and then you see decreasing volume, decreasing volume. So that is a balanced day. Today's a D shape. Today's a D shape. For a capital B, you want to see that gap in the middle. And then your POC is going to be on one of your ranges. Capital B typically has a range during the opening or the well, during the opening of the day you're going to range, and then you're going to fail, or you're going to break out and then have another range. So range, breakout, or fail into another range, and then you have a gap in between. So this would be a bullish B, this would be a bearish B. I'll talk about that when we do our afternoon session. I'm going to go over how you could have traded today's session. What time is it? Yeah, we're going to end stream here in the next like 15 minutes, and then I'm going to come back at 3 p.m. Eastern. So most of today I'm going to cut up and I'm going to make a shorter video on YouTube. So if you guys are just coming in, you missed a lot of the video today. I'm going to cut it up. I'm going to put the tips and tricks on how to trade penny stocks and all the stuff going over WeBull's platform. I'm going to put that into a video for YouTube. You guys have any other stocks you want to take a look at? Any other questions? I don't see anything new on the scanner. BSTM, did we go over that one? This might be a new one. Pretty low volume on this one though. Trying to see if there's anything on the screen that I can give you a tip on, but I think I've gone over pretty much everything on the strategy. We went over volume, we went over the breakout, secondary breakout, went over the ranges, went over the CCI confirmation. We went over the micro pullbacks, the first pullbacks. That's pretty much it. Did we look at RWT? I know we saw RWT earlier. It was looking pretty good. Yeah, I can take a look at Kala Digital. So Kala has a nice setup here. Still up 7%. Yeah, it's doing really well, man. You called this out. When did you call this out? Back around like $10? 10, 10, 20? This is doing very well. Oh, no, you called this out way lower. You called this out around like... Because you called this out back in April. You called this out around like 7 or 8, I think. This is doing very, very well. Which one was this one? This one was the pharmaceutical company, yeah. Yeah, this thing is doing exceptionally well. Sadly, I did not invest when you told us to. You're coming into a lot of resistance here on the daily, or sorry, the weekly. So watch out for this weekly range. Yeah, that's a lot of resistance you're coming into. Around 12, 12.15. Definitely keep an eye on that. You might even hit it today, shit. So Kala's kind of a good example of the breakout strategy. So you see a nice gap up, you see that volume coming in. Cash account held you back. Yeah, exactly. So you see a nice little open here on the breakout. You don't have a lot of volume on Kala towards the open, and not even a lot of volume period during today. But that initial pullback did hold the 50. So as long as you held the 50, you could still go for your secondary breakout, which you did. You went for your secondary breakout here. Very nice volume came in on the breakout. CCI was confirming. Once again, you held the 50. You went for your third breakout. Same thing. Volume came in. CCI confirmed. Very, very beautiful pattern. It shows 3 examples of the strategy. Breakout on volume confirmed by the CCI. Same thing again. Same thing again. Very, very nice. Digital said, or sorry, Moneybag said, I see a bull div on space 4 hours. Take a look. Why are there 2 of these? Let's take a look at this one. 1 minute looks pretty decent. Nice accumulation coming on the 1 hour. Or sorry, the 1 minute. Let's go to the 4 hour here. You said a bull div, huh? I don't see a bull div on the CCI. No bull div on the MACD. Let's take a look on the Momo. Yeah, so slight bull div on the Momo. Very slight bull div here. You actually have a buy signal here coming in on the trail as well. How were their earnings? You can't trust TradingView, so I'm not sure on that. Let's take a look. Doesn't have a report. Did they report earnings, or is that just a TradingView bug? Here we go. They had good earnings. Yeah, they had really good earnings. Oh, never mind. Sorry, they had bad earnings. Collected 238,000 revenue, down 87% year over year. I was looking at this. I thought this was an earnings thing. That's not an earnings thing. Let's see. Yeah, so they're doing bad. Their losses are up. Their revenue's down. It's an airline, basically, so they are getting... Yeah, so in short, no profits. So I'd be very careful with this. They just had earnings. Earnings were terrible. They're an airline. Might have a small bounce, but nothing too crazy. Sorry, guys. Today wasn't a green day. If today was a green day on the SPY, we saw a nice little breakout. We could have probably gotten some live examples on the strategy. Hopefully next Wednesday we'll get a green day, and we'll be able to get some live examples in. I think today was good though. We went over a lot of different setups, a lot of different strategies on how to trade like low time frame penny stocks. You can take these strategies over into like crypto or other markets. They're just not going to be exact. You're going to have to tweak them a little bit to the markets. But like the bull flag strategy, the relative volume strategy, that is very, very standard price action stuff. That is not just for penny stock trading. I use that in basically all of my trading. Digital said he said, I bought Uber puts this morning. They're doing very well now. He also said Uber is probably going to collapse soon. Let's take a look. Yeah, looking pretty bad on the 1 minute. Pretty bad day today. Not looking too good. People aren't traveling recreationally, so Uber's taking a hit. You failed the 200 moving average on Uber on the daily, so very bad. MACD crossing downward. You're below both your short terms. You're back into that kind of a distribution range. This became a deviation. This is a sell signal here. If you guys use my strategy on accumulation distribution, that would have given you a sell signal yesterday. So yeah, you're right on. You're right on. I'm actually going to post this in Discord as well. You got in at $28 flat. Oh, on Uber? Yeah, 28. What's it at now? 27? Yeah, it's not bad. So where would have been that? That level is right on... I'd probably say around... Yeah, it's basically right where that level is. Right around 28, 28.50. Basically right where that level is. This looks like it's about to fall off a cliff. If it doesn't recover right here on this support, it's going to nuke. You have a point of origin down here at around 23. Besides that, there's not a lot of support here. You have the range low, of course. That would be your first target. Kind of around 26, 25. And then if you just absolutely obliterate all of those levels, you would be targeting 15. You had a sell signal on the MACD, sell signal on the CCI, sell signal on the failure of the 200, sell signal on the deviation of the distribution. There are no good signals here for Uber. Sell signal on the 12 crossing the 20. Very bad. Sad because I actually like the company as well, yeah. It sucks for companies that They were situated okay. They were doing all right in revenue, and then coronavirus just destroyed them. Your calls are good, Digital. I like you have good eyes, man. You find a lot of good stocks. What is your screening method? What do you do to look around the market and find what you like? Do you go on like Finviz or like screener websites and have them screen stuff for you? Or do you just have like a watch list of big name companies that you just look around for? Do you do like volume scans? Little bit of a bull div coming in here if it does bounce. What's the SPY looking like? Trying to form a bottom here. Tigil said, I'll use Finviz, and I do have a watch list. I do volume scans and where prices in regards to the 200 EMA. Or 200 MA. Yeah, I like Finviz. I used to use Finviz a lot back when I was trading penny stocks. I would scan, because there were basically no scanners back then. Moneybag said, I was going to say small bull div on 5 minute. Looks like she can make some divergence on the 1 hour. Are you talking about the SPY? Yeah, it looks like you have a small bull div here on the 1 minute. 5 minute has like an inverse head and shoulders here on SPY. Could start to bounce here. Or are you talking about Uber, Moneybag? Oh, you're talking about Uber? Yeah. Yeah, very slight bull div. If it does start to bounce, you see a green candle come in, confirm it. One hour, same thing. Kind of forming a bull div. You're still forming those, so you could go much lower. You could go much lower for sure. We could take puts on Uber for our stream account. I am approved for options on this account. What, let's see, today is the 6th? I'd probably go out to like the 22nd or the 29th. Where were our daily levels? Our daily levels were around 23, 25. 14 is way too far. So I'd say around 25, 23. So like 23, 24 would be good. Good puts probably. Open interest is pretty good on the 2450s. $15 puts, look at those. 1,000 open interest. That's funny. Yeah, so the 2450s have decent open interest. They're up 30% already today. Little too expensive for the stream account, I think. If we took them, it'd be like 30% of our account in one contract. Oh, they have a chart too. Nice. I didn't even see that. If we went closer, let's see. Go to the 24s, 23s. 77 cents, 98 cents. Those are better. Not a lot of open interest, though. What expiration do you have, Digital? Yeah, it seems like the best open interest is the May 29th 2450s. May 29th. How many days would that give you? How many trading days? First red candle here on the 4-hour on Uber as well. Yeah, Momo signal to top. That top was beautiful. You failed that pivot as well. What do we say, May 29th? That is 23 trading days. 32. Oh, that's on the 4-hour. $23 trading days, 16 trading days, 23 days. So 23 days of theta burn, 16 trading days. That would be targeting 2450. That's not too bad. You are right on a daily pivot. You're right on a weekly pivot as well. The weekly looks horrendous. You're getting that Momo pinch. When the Momo pinch is like that, not good. Look at that sell signal to the tick, pretty much. Absolutely perfect. You'd be up 16% already with little to no drawdown. Exceptional. You have June 5th. June 5th. So you're like 1 week farther. What did you say? You had which contract do you have? The $28 ones? Or that's where you said you got in. May close before then since earnings are the end of the month. Yeah. Yeah, the 2450s there don't have a lot of open interest. There's like no open interest in June. I'd probably go with the May 29th. Implied volatility 90%. That's actually not that high for Uber. I think Uber is usually pretty high. But alright guys, we're getting a little late here. I'm going to end up the stream. I do appreciate you guys stopping by for our WeBull description and our tips and tricks on how to trade penny stocks. Hopefully you guys liked this content. If you did, make sure to hit that subscribe button or that like button on YouTube. I will be streaming back again on at 3 p.m. Eastern of today, so I'll be back. Appreciate you guys watching. I'll see you guys in our afternoon session. I'll see you then. Peace out, guys.